Alright, getting ready to tie some black rabbit streamers. I got new hooks and new cone heads, but I think they might be a little too small. I'm gonna find out. I'm sure the fish will still bite. Those are going to be just a little bit shorter because I think the shank of these hooks is just a little shorter. So I'm going to see how these tie up. I might swing by the store and get some bigger equipment, but we'll see. Alright, nice and tight. Try to prevent it from slipping. And we're going to go up the hook shank. Then we're going to wrap this around. These cone heads might be just a little small. to get all that stuff stuffed up in there, but we'll see if we can't get this cinched in. Keep it in focus. There we go. Not looking too bad there. I think that'll do all right. That actually looks pretty good. I like it with the gunmetal colored cone head. Try to stop bumping the table here. Nice. Pretty cool. Alright. Let me see if I can't get this better in focus. Part of the problem is I'm bumping the table device it's sitting on. Not bad. Alright. Let's see if we can tie up another one of these. You can almost fish that like a woolly bugger. I'm gonna do another one of those with the dark cone head. First thing is to feed that cone head onto the hook. just a smidge. Hard for me to tell when that hook. So let's go back. All right. Okay. All right, that looks to be in focus. Gotta pay attention to which way the hair flows on these guys. There is a direction to it. So it should be going like that, just flowing down the hook shank. I'm gonna try to make this one a little bit longer. was so paranoid about trimming my thread that I left that a little long. See if I can't trim that up some. There we go. That's how it's supposed to be. Got that sitting around there now. Sorry, I bumped my table again. There we go. Yeah, I had to pop that cone head back over where the fur was meeting the hook. That looks good. A little bit longer tail, not much. I say that, but these are just a little bit smaller version of what I was making the other night. Oh my goodness gracious. Oh boy. Now what do I do? Whew. I cannot get this to slip now. See if I can't pull it through. There we go. There we go. Just cut up on something. Alright. Number 2 in the books for tonight. Not enough material to make another one with that scrap. Pretty cool. Keep getting too close to that guy. Good looking fly, I think. See if we can't come with some trout with one of these in the near future. Alright. You want to try to make the next one just a smidge longer too. Though I think those aren't too bad. think the second one was a better size. Alright, I need a hook. And a cone head. There's nobody out there tonight, at least I can't tell. Nobody's chatting. To tell me if my stream's actually working. I can tell it's a little out of focus right now. My cone head on my hook. Get this tightened down. Actually, that's not that bad. Yo, how you doing, Matt? Trying to get my focus dialed in here, buddy. Just tying some flies. How are you guys? Got your hands full with... Don't you have 2 kids now, Matt? I think. I know how that goes. I've only got one boy, but we had a baby back in March, so 3 girls, 1 boy. I enjoy the 4-year-old and 11-month-old. Nice. It's got to be getting fun with 11 months. We still got a 2.5-month-old, almost 3 months, and she's starting to get to be a lot of fun. Those first few months, though, they're pretty, I don't want to say boring, but they just don't do a whole lot. But we're starting to see her personality shine through, and that's always fun. But I get it. Once they're in bed, you're like, what can we do? I've just been trying to get flies tied up and get ready so when the time comes and I can get away from work and children and hit the stream, I'm all geared up and ready to go. I know you know how that goes. I know you do a lot of crappie jigs in your off season when it's winter time. So I can relate to you. Trying to get this fluff just right so I can tie it up. Kinda gotta part the hair. And that rabbit hair just wants to flop forward. Or flop backwards, I should say. Nice. How'd you do at the lake today? What were you fishing for mainly? Bass, crappie, anything that bites? And did you succeed? I'm about to lose my light, I think. Few colors of those rabbit strips, but I haven't gotten to tie with them yet. Yeah, I have black and green. That's all I got. And they're the smaller ones, though. I must say, the ones that I have from a long time ago, if you look at this, the quality control in these was a lot better. It's a really uniform strip. And if I can find the new ones I just got, I don't know what I do with. Oh, they're there. Quality control's not so good. Like some of them are skinny, and then some of them are just really not uniformly cut. So like this one's like a monstrosity. That's bigger than 1/4 of an inch, I'm pretty sure, and it's supposed to be 1/8 of an inch. So I'm not super enthused with the quality, but you take what you can get, and I'll trim it down and make it look good. Caught a bunch of sunfish and bass, 2 crappie, 1 big white bass. Nice. Hey, as long as you're catching fish, man. I wish I had a pond or a lake that I could take the kids to and fish, but it's just more trout fishing over here, you know, which is good, but kids are just a little bit too small to be able to fend for themselves while we're trout fishing, so it's kind of takes a lot more oversight than you know, just throwing in a bobber for them, which I'd love to do just to get them interested. But it'll happen at some point. It's just, yes, I gotta stay in a holding pattern with them until they're old enough to kind of get into this more. Well, thanks for popping in. I'm just hanging out, tying flies and shooting the breeze with anybody that'll stop in, so I don't stay up too late. Oh man, you should have looked me up. But yeah, I get it though. If you're traveling for work too, I mean that in a kind of if you ever want to, just let me know. But don't feel bad that you didn't or anything like that. I get it too when you're traveling for work. It's usually schedules are tight and crazy and all that, so. But seriously, if you're ever doing it again and you have extra time, you just let me know. I'll get you over to one of my favorite fishing holes and we can tear it up. But you probably didn't have the greatest weather when you were here, right? Well, it just depends. It's gonna be. It was warm here today, hot here tomorrow, and then my wife said it's gonna be in the 50s next week. So you just never know what you're gonna get. nice and tight. Cut my zonker strip here. Try to get as close as I can so I can get it tucked into that cone head. I think I did it all right there. Oh no, broke my thread. I'm like 45 minutes from the springs, which isn't too bad. Now I gotta figure out a way to revive this fly because I just broke off my thread snap and pulling it so tight to cinch this down. I think I can. Oh my gosh, I'm just really giving it a hard time tonight. What on earth? Yeah, just shoot me a message sometime, or DM me on Instagram and let me know if you're in the area. And we can make it happen. We can make it happen. Well, if this one starts falling apart on the stream, now I know why. So it was looking good too, but I guess this thread's not that strong, but I like it to be nice and tight so I can make sure nothing's falling apart out there, but then that was not very good. Oh boy, this is the part where I gotta pull it in every direction. It can get out of focus. Yeah, definitely do. Because I'm actually I wouldn't be that far off, I can tell you that. We could meet up. I can tell you where to go and everything. We could meet at the stream if you wanted. I can bring the gear. If I can get away from work, but work's just been dogging me lately, but if I can get away, which I should theoretically be able to, because I'm supposed to only be working half-time at the moment because of the baby. But it hasn't been going perfectly according to plan. Let's see, is that in focus? Yeah, it's pretty good in focus. Hopefully I got that tied up so that I can't even see where that thread is. I don't remember if I cut it off or not. But I can't see it, so the fish probably can't either. I think I was able to salvage it even though the thread broke, so nice. Alright, tied up a bunch of these with the dark cone head. And I'm gonna do one more with a gold head. I don't know, I don't even know what time it is. Yeah, these things, these rabbit ones, it'll be interesting to see because these cone heads that I bought are a little bit smaller, and sometimes I'm fishing them and they're hitting the bottom so hard that I tend to feel a rock and then I'll break it off. So I'm hoping that if I maybe if they're a little bit lighter, I can avoid the rocks a little bit and connect with the fish a little bit more. But they get enticed by these things for sure. So There's the gold head. Remind me what you do for work again, if you don't mind. You don't have to get too specific if you don't want to. I wore my Colorado Fly shirt. Cool. Project manager. I'm more of an IT kind of personality, and I'm the one who the project managers boss around. But that's alright. Without project managers, I wouldn't have anybody pushing me to do my job. Alright. Trying to figure out where to go with this. How long to make the tail here? That'll be about right. PLC? No. I'm a Java dude. So, but it's kind of an I don't want to say an understatement, but I get involved in just about anything that we touch, so I'm not, you kind of, when you study this stuff when you're young, you get a kind of a wide training of sorts, and then you kind of focus on something. But if you remember all the training, then you get to be the lucky one that works on everything you do. You end up just solving every problem that comes your way. So that's kind of how I am. But when I get a chance to code, I'm coding in a specific language. But no, I'm an old dude, so I kind of know what I know, and I've been focused on that which I know, and then you try to learn new stuff as you go. But it's hard in a constantly evolving industry, I'll tell you that. But yeah, dude, if you're ever around, Gotcha. But if you're ever around, I got plenty of fishing gear, 2 fly rods, and obviously I'm going to have plenty of streamers. So, and then spinning rods too. You might need waders. I forgot about that part. But there's spots where you could fish from the bank, so. But we could just hit it up, and yeah, just see if we can connect you with a Rocky Mountain trout. And have you ever had a chance to fish here before? I should have asked that. Yeah, especially if you know you're gonna be coming through. You just if you want to, if it's something you want to do, then definitely just hit me up. Oh no, dadgummit. That's what I was afraid of earlier, and here I did it just now. Well, I can salvage it. Show the problem or the project manager how I problem solve. Never fished in Colorado. Spent a lot of time here for work and vacations, but never have fished. Well, you, sir. I don't know if I should say you're in for a treat, but if you do come up here, we'll get you on a fish. I don't have them quite trained, but I think I can make it happen for you. We're going to try this again because I ruined I cut through my thread, which I did not want to do. But that's okay. I can tie a knot here and get this all situated. If I can keep the fur out of the way. It's one of those things where you kind of wish you had 800 hands. This time I'm going to try not to cut my thread. It sure does. And then I think I was being overly cautious earlier. And then this time I was just like, I got this. It's always a fine line between being too cautious and being a fool. Hopefully I can get that tucked around and then cinched down. We'll see. There we go. Oh, it's wanting to go around that bead head. Yeah, you'll never know. A little more in focus. How heavy is the bead? I don't know. It doesn't really give me a weight. Maybe it does. I should say that. No, it just gives me a measurement. 3/16 of an inch. they're I mean they got a little bulk to them, but here's the ones I was using. Wait, sorry, I'm like backwards watching my viewfinder. These are the ones I was using the other night. Sorry, I don't know what's in one hand. These ones, so let me do it this way. These ones are a little bit bigger and they have a little bit more mass to them. And these ones seem a little bit more, they're a little bit smaller and they have a little less mass because I think they're really thin. But I'm going to try to get these are, what, 3/16? And I think I'm going to get a 7/32, which might match what I had before a little better. But sometimes if I want them to have a little more weight, I was telling people I'll shove some tungsten putty down in the cone head and it gets it to dive a little bit. But yeah, that's just what I was doing before. That's probably why I was losing so many, because I put that tungsten putty in there. You know, it should have an effect to help it sink a little bit. I don't know if it's gonna. It just depends on how quick the water's moving, right? It's gonna sink. It's just when. I mean, the leather's got some mass to it too, so you start to. It has mass, but the old cone heads definitely had enough mass to help it sink. The new ones, I'll find out, I guess. But worst case, I can always put a split shot on, and then that'll help it get down. And that's not a big deal. So we'll find out, I guess. And I always double knot these. I don't know if it makes any difference, but I feel better when it's double knotted. Well, I was actually able to salvage that, so. And my thread is now on the ground. The nice thing is that once that cone head kind of pushes that direction, it kind of hides whatever your mess is that you were tying up, so. It should hold it well enough. I was thinking of trying to make a smaller jig on a 1/32 ounce for panfish here. I need to just take my fly rod on the boat and have a field day with the panfish. Yeah, man. I remember, and I was talking about this the other night, but when I first got my fly rod, I think I was still in high school, and I took it out to a pond where the only thing I knew I could catch would be bluegill, and I was catching bluegill, just on like a grasshopper floating on top of the water, and I don't know if there's anything more fun than that. I mean, I guess it's more fun when you if you're catching good sized fish, right, and they're just biting like crazy, you can't beat that. But for just having fun, catching panfish, and I feel like with a fly rod, they can be pretty easy to fool, and that can just be a ton of fun. So I hear you. I like I've tried tying some foam hoppers Some that look really realistic. They're kind of a pain to tie up because you have to like glue two colors of foam together and then cut it just right and tie it just right, and it gets kind of crazy. But when you do, and then you go, like, I remember I went up to there was a couple of lakes in the mountains. They're more like ponds, and I saw these big cutthroat hanging out in the shallows by the rocks, and I could see them. And it's kind of weird because I was fishing in still water in the midst of these boulders, but there's a ton of fish out in the main pond, or like just out in the open, right, where you're fishing with lures and stuff. But these bigger cutthroat would hang out in the rocks because they knew it was an easy meal. And so they were kind of the biggest and smartest fish out there. But I remember, and I'm pretty sure I put a video out of it, but I'd bounce these hoppers off the rock right into the still water. And those cutthroat would just see it and go nuts. And it's so much fun when you got a big old terrestrial fly on there and you put it right where you see a fish, and you know that they can't resist it because they think it's a big bug just coming to make their day. So yeah, that was a good time. I've got a lantern lighting up my fly bench here. And it's the red light on it's flashing, and it's slowly getting more dim. So I'm about ready to lose my light source, but I got a flashlight. I might be able to achieve the same effect somehow. There we go. Haha. Flashlight saves the day. Cool. This will be my last one, and then I'm gonna go to bed. I just want to tie one more with that gold head, and I got one last piece of that zonker strip, so I'm gonna get this one tied up, and then I'm gonna call it a night. Well, I forgot to tighten my hook. I'm going to call it a night after this one. Is he in focus? Could be a little better. I think that's pretty good. The lantern does a better job of broad illumination. The flashlight's going to be a little more focused, but I'll see if I can do this one without cutting through my thread. I'm looking around for the black rabbit fur. Yeah, you go for it, man. Hey, appreciate you stopping by. Have a great night, and have a good rest of your weekend, and talk to you some other time. Take care, Matt. bring my thread forward up the hook. Otherwise you have nothing to attach it with. Worked out better. Not bad. That one tied up kind of nice. I managed to not break my thread so far. And I'm going to whip finish this guy, and then this will be the end of the road. Alright, nice and cinched down. Another good looking fly. I gotta get it just angled correctly. Where, so that the shadow. I was trying to get it so the shadow is not too noticeable, but pretty nice. Yeah, I'm trying to get out of the way so I can have I need a lighter backdrop to take a thumbnail. But yeah, that is the last fly of the night. That piece of leather's hanging off the back. Another rabbit streamer conehead. We tied them in silver and gold tonight. Can't even tell the difference because I got a light shining in my face, but yeah, there you go. Silver and gold, tied them both. We made, how many did we make tonight? 5? That's not bad. Wait, yeah, 5. So, gonna have the fly box all loaded up with new flies and do some fishing for brown trout, and I'm sure the rainbows will find these attractive too. anything that'll bite, right? Thanks for watching. Catch you later.